Hello everyone, in this video we are going to see a double dimensional array program to find the sum of rows and find the sum of columns and then display the output. Now let's see the question. Write a program in Java to store the numbers in 4x4 matrix in a double dimensional array. Find the sum of numbers of each row and the sum of each column of the matrix. So you can see a matrix is being displayed, okay, which has 4 rows and 4 columns, so totally 16 elements. Okay, you are going to find the sum of each row. So this is the first row. You are going to add these elements 1, 2, 3, 4 will be added, and it has to be stored into a variable and display it. And then go to the next row, add the next set of values, and then third row and then fourth row. After completing, again you have to go for the columns. Okay, first column you have to find the sum of the first column elements, then display it. Then go to the second column elements, display it, and then the third column and then fourth column. So you have to display individually. So your output should look like this: the sum of row 1, then sum of row 2, then sum of row 3, and the sum of row 4 should be displayed. And then again you have to display sum of column 1, then sum of column 2, then sum of column 3, and sum of column 4. Now you are going to see how to solve this. I have just taken an example of the first row and first column alone. Okay, so this has to be continued to all the rows so that you will get the output properly. Now for the first row, sum of first row, what you have to do is you can notice the subscript values and rows and columns. So first subscript value is a row, which is 0. You can see you have 4 elements here, so error of 0 for all the set of elements. For row value will be the same. Okay, since it is the first row values are same. The column values are increasing. So first element column value is 0, second element column value is 1, 2 and 3. So you can see column value is 0, 1, 2 and 3. Now when you notice this, you obviously know that you should use a nested loop where I value will represent the column and j value represents the I value represents the row and the column value is represented by j. Okay, now I value will have the constant value 0. So that's how the nested loop works. Outer loop will be executed once, but inner loop will be executed 4 times. Okay, and then you will go on to the next iteration of the outer loop. Again you will execute the outer loop once, and again inner loop will be executed another set of 4 times, so that the second row will be selected. Okay, so since it is storing as well as reading row by row, it is very simple logic. You can read it row by row, immediately add it. Okay, so it will be like error of 0 0 plus error of 0 1 plus error of 0 2 plus error of 0 3. That means all the elements of the first row is added and then stored into a variable. Okay, then you have to go to the next row. Automatically when the iteration completes, okay, you can see the iteration will be completed after the j value executes 0 1 2 3, that is 4 times. I value will become 1 and j value again starts from 0 1 2 3. That means it will execute 4 times again. So it will be nothing but the second row. Okay, now the I value, that is the I value is 1, so it will be the second row, that is 1 0 1 1 1 1 1 2 and 1 3. That will be nothing but the next 4 elements in the matrix, that is the second row. You have to notice one more thing, that is after completing the first row, after adding all the 4 elements you are storing into a variable, you can use the same variable to add the next 4 set of elements which is in the second row. So doing that, what you have to do is you have to display the sum immediately after the inner loop executed and reset the variable which stores the sum, so that the same variable can be used for the next set of calculation. Okay, so that can be kept in mind. And next is sum of column. You can see here instead of I, you can see j value is constant. Okay, you can see that column values are constant. So you can see 0 0 1 0 2 0 and 3 0. That means column values are constant, that is j value is constant and I value is changing. Okay, that means you can see that row values are changing. So 0 1 2 3, so it is changing. So that is only changes you are going to do in the program. So we will go to the program and check how to solve this question. So in BlueJ, I have created a program to find the sum of row and columns. Here you have the first line is the creation of object, that is scanner object. to get the input from the user. And then the second line is you have to get the declare the array variable. Since it is a double dimensional array, you should have a pair of square brackets, ARR as the variable, and then two square brackets, open and close square brackets, and then new int 4 comma 4. That means you should have 4 rows and 4 columns. So maximum of 4 rows and 4 columns elements can be stored in this. And then you should have two variables to store the sum of rows and sum of columns. Now next part is you are going to accept the values. You have to use a nested loop to accept the values. You know that it will execute row by row, so that the values are stored row by row. Okay, so first 4 elements in the first row, then it will go to the second row. So that's how the subscript values are. You can see ARR of I and j. So I value is nothing but the outer loop value, which will be 0 till j value completes 4 execution. That is 4 set of iteration. That is j value will be 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then I value becomes 1. Then it will be again 4 set of iterations here. Okay. So it goes on row by row. So it will store the values. And next is you are going to calculate the sum and then display immediately the sum of rows. First you are going to see the sum of rows, and then you will go to the sum of columns. Now again you will have 2 loops. So the outer loop will be executed from I equal to 0, I lesser than 4, I plus 4. That means it will execute 4 times. And then inside the outer loop you can see a line sum row equal to 0. That is the reason for it is you are going to initialize it to reset it to 0 before you add the values in the array elements and store it into the variable. Okay, first time anyway it will be 0. Okay, after completing the inner loop, that is the inner loop also will be executed from 0 to 3. It will be executed 4 times. That means the first row will be executed. So all the elements in the first row is added to the some row and will be stored into the variable. After completing it, immediately you are going to display the sum of rows. You can see that it will be displayed. I have used sum of row, and I have to display, because as per the question it has to display row wise, that is row 1, row 2, row 3. So I have just given I plus 1 because I value is 0, so I cannot give the sum of row 0. So I have to give the sum of row 1, that is according to the user it is the first row. So I am adding just 1 to it, so that for display purpose it will display 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually it is the row 0, but when you display it will be row 1. Okay. And now you are going to display the first row, sum of first row. After completing it, you are going to go to the outer loop. Before that is outer loop, again it will start executing it. I value becomes 1. It enters the loop inside the body of the outer loop. You can see now the sum of row is becoming 0. It has some values here, right? Once you print the first row, it has some values. Say for example, the first row when you add, you will get 10. Okay, that value will be stored in some row here. Okay, which should be reset. Otherwise, what happens is the old value will be added with the second row also. So I am resetting it to 0 so that it will be fetched, so that the second row will be added and it will be stored into the same variable. So you can reuse the same variable again. And then you are going to display the row number 2, then 3, then 4. Once that outer loop is completed, it comes out of it. Now you are going to find the sum of columns. Same logic here. I am going to use the same loop statements, that is outer loop and inner loop. Now I have used the variable sum call, that is the column sum of columns, which is initialized to 0. Now I am adding the values, that is ARR of ji. The reason for giving ji is the example we saw that the row value is changing and column value is constant. But I noticed when we were discussing the example, we noticed that second example where you are finding the sum columns, where you are going to have the second, that is the column values are constant and row values are changing. So I will just interchange the variables. So j will be the row which will be changing, and then the I value will be the constant, that is the column value. Okay, so you will see that it will add the column wise elements and it will be stored in some call. The same steps here. You are going to display the sum of column and I plus 1 and display the values, that is the value stored in sum call. Now you are going to compile this program. No syntax errors. So right click public static void main and then click OK. Then I am going to enter the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you can see the sum of row 1, row 2, row 3 has been displayed, row 4 has been displayed, and then you will get the sum of column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. So you can see the list of row wise sum and then column wise sum has been calculated and will be displayed. Hope you understood the video. We will meet in the next video. Till then, thank you.